Surviving Y2K and the supposed end of all technology and therefore the world left us with nowhere to go but up in the 2000s. Now, whether you consider LimeWire, MySpace, and those weirdly shaped elastic bands to be up is your prerogative, but when the 2000s extend to wrestling, most people would agree that WWE took a significant step back. Maybe not right away, as the first 15 months of the decade were maybe the best the company had literally ever had, but after the fall of WCW and the end of the Attitude Era, the company got the F out, and with it went a significant amount of the interest the general public had in wrestling. Which is a shame, because all those folks who departed the wrestling fandom had to miss out on seeing fine pay-per-views like these. I'm Tempest hailing from partsFUNknown, and this is the best WWE pay-per-view from every year of the 2000s.
Are you feeling sad, little Peter?
No, I just have resting sad face.
Are you feeling down in the dumps because you're constantly cast as a humiliated figure of fun?
I mean, well, I'm not down in the dumps about it. I just feel like I have more range, you know?
Do you get sad when you can't watch shows from all over the world?
Frustrated, I guess? What does that have to do with—
Do you call the WAMbulance when your IP address isn't protected as you surf the web?
What?
Do cybercriminals make you wee yourself at the office and everyone laughs at you as they sing, Pete, Pete, the man who loves to wee himself?
That is a half-truth. How do you know that? Who are you?
Worry not, little Peter, because I'm your friendly neighborhood Surfshark. And with Surfshark, I can make you cool.
I don't want to be cool. I just want to be me. I'm enough. I'm enough.
You see, with Surfshark, you can be the coolest shark in the sea by staying protected from cyber criminals, protecting your IP address, and watching content from all over the world. Secure your privacy with Surfshark now by entering the code JAMThatJam for an extra 4 months free using the link in the video description.
Please, can I go back to normal now? I don't want to be cool anymore.
Nonsense, Peter. You'll be like this forever. You will be loved and adored by all.
Oh, God.
2000 Backlash. The emotional favorite of any youngster that considered themselves a fan of WWE at the time, aka Luke Owen. Backlash 2000 doesn't feature the bevy of classic matches that many of the pay-per-views to come on this list do, but Backlash 2000 is a pay-per-view built on vibes. That's not to say there weren't good matches on this show, as Benoit and Jericho began their WWF feud properly with a great IC title match, and every hipster's favorite pick for the most underrated pay-per-view match, Dean Malenko vs. Scotty 2 Hotty, also took place, but really this was a show carried by its main event, Triple H vs. The Rock for the title, with McMahon bullshit bound and the return of Steve Austin to level the playing field. The Rock got a shockingly low number of singles wins over Triple H during their legendary rivalry, so when he got this one, the stars aligned, the world shook, and the people remembered. There's a reason this was the #1 Backlash in our list from a few weeks back, and being the top pay-per-view of arguably WWE's best year ever only continues to back that up. 2001, WrestleMania X7. Well, here's the shocker of the century. After increasing interest in WWE compounded over years and years, the company finally peaked in virtually every way with WrestleMania X7. It helps that the show came at the end of the greatest 3 pay-per-view run in company history as well, with the Royal Rumble and No Way Out preceding it, and it also helps that the company drops off a cliff almost immediately afterward. But hey, I guess that's what a peak is. I won't bore you with a rundown of the card. It's Mania X7. You know that TLC 2 is great, the McMahon family soap opera is exactly that, and Austin and Rock is the best the main event scene of WWE ever got. I guess I did run down the card anyway. Oops. Oh, well, it's Mania X7, I can't help but want to talk about it. It has the best announced team, the best goofy hardcore match, the best car crash match, the most iconic video package, hell, even the best version of Steve Austin's theme. This may not be comprised 100% of great matches, but it will in all likelihood be forever remembered as the best WWE pay-per-view of all time. 2002, SummerSlam. With WWE looking to show off many of their newest faces, they took to the biggest event of the summer and put on the best show of 2002. This was a mixed bag of a year for WWE, and even here with the very beginnings of the brand split taking shape, you could see that SmackDown was going to be a force of nature while Raw was not. although you wouldn't know it from this show. Most of the SmackDown 6 took this opportunity to show out, best displayed by Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio's all-time great opening match, while Raw's main event scene had one of its best nights with Shawn Michaels' first WWE match in 4.5 years against Triple H. Brock Lesnar established himself as the new top dog of the company, and good matches populated the rest of the card. When I got the WWE Network for the first time in 2016, the very first show that I put on was SummerSlam 2002, and I've never regretted it. Not that I spend a lot of time thinking about that choice, but you catch my drift. 2003, WrestleMania 19. The hipster's choice for the greatest WrestleMania of all time, unless the hipster is Dan Layton.
Oh, for f***'s sake.
Honestly, this show's status as the best work rate Mania has probably been unseated in recent years, but when you consider that the Ruthless Aggression era wasn't exactly known for such things, it's almost absurd how good this show is. With 3 strong contenders for best match of the show between Jericho and Michaels, Austin and Rock, and the pillow fight match, Mania 19's batting average was as high as Ichiro Suzuki's. That's one for all my Mariners fans out there, because the show is in Seattle, you see. Had Brock Lesnar not completely domed himself trying to do a shooting star press, this Mania would be regarded even more highly than it already is. It's the final chapter of the Austin Rock era, it's the return of Mr. WrestleMania, it's a fantastic show, even if Triple H is a goober taking 2 hours to pin Booker T. 2004, Backlash. 2004 is not a good year for WWE on pay-per-view, but I guess that's what happens when you have JBL in the main event of half of them. SmackDown had become a very bad show, with their top stars either departing the company or getting moved to Raw, but that did mean that the Raw exclusive pay-per-views got to be the good ones for a change. Enter Backlash 04. Not a great show from top to bottom by any means, but a show that demonstrated just how solid Raw's main event scene was at the time. In our best Mania follow-ups list, I heap deserved praise onto the Randy Orton Cactus Jack match, but this time I'll take the time to put over Chris Benoit versus Triple H versus Shawn Michaels. Some silly billies tried to say that this belonged on the WrestleMania rematches better than the originals list, and no, the Mania match is definitely better, even if this one does have the benefit of Benoit's hometown crowd, but this match is still f***ing excellent. 2005, One Night Stand. If we took into account all of the fallout of the pay-per-views on this list, One Night Stand would be banished to the Shadow Realm for the part it played in the return of ECW in its most cursed form. Thankfully for this show's sake, we don't, and thus One Night Stand 2005 can stand as the greatest wrestling reunion show of all time, and the day that ECW should have been peacefully laid to rest. It's a beautiful show that feels more authentic than maybe any other WWE pay-per-view in existence. No moment on the show exemplifies this better than the Sandman's entrance. The only time WWE ever doled out the cash to put Enter Sandman over the airwaves, and I find it physically impossible to not get mountainous goosebumps while watching the Hammerstein Ballroom singing along. It almost doesn't matter that most of the matches on the show are good. They are, but One Night Stand is more about vibes than graps, and they had them in spades. 2006, Unforgiven. For some reason, WWE rolled into Toronto, put on their best pay-per-view of the year, and said, "F that place, let's not go back for 10 years. Must have been the Canadian dollar. 2006 wasn't a good year for WWE. Hell, when I was a kid, this was when all the other kids told me to stop. So it was a bit of a surprise to see a pay-per-view as good as this one within 2006's confines. Not everything is great. The Spirit Squad versus the Highlanders sits in the deepest circle of tag team apathy hell, and the double count out between Kane and Umaga does nothing for no one, but otherwise this is a big-time pay-per-view with appropriately big-time matches. Jeff Hardy returns to WWE pay-per-view for a decent IC title opener against Johnny Nitro, where Nitro got the win to the shock of fans. The abhorrently bad DX McMahon's feud was shoved in the bin like Vince's head getting shoved up the Big Show's big bum, courtesy of a good and chaotic Hell in a Cell match. Trish Stratus retired for the first time, going out on top, winning the women's title from Lita in one of their best matches together, and of course, no one gets to win in their hometown, unless you're Trish, as Edge lost the WWE title back to John Cena in one of the best singles TLC matches ever. Usually with pay-per-views from this era, you go, oh, that's where that one thing happened. But for Unforgiven, there's like 3 things. 2007, Backlash. 2007 actually has a good few top-notch pay-per-views across its calendar. Rumble is great, Mania is great, Great American Bash, One Night Stand, No Mercy, Armageddon, and Survivor Series all have things to like on them, but the show that stands above all of them is the granddaddy of the follow-ups of the granddaddy of them all, Backlash. An utterly fantastic show this is. You can drop Vince McMahon winning the ECW championship in the f***ing sea, but otherwise this show is just hit after hit. If you like a couple big boys flying off the stage while a big thing falls on them, you've got Taker and Batista. If you want the best four-way match in WWE history with established main event stars, you've got Edge, Orton, Michaels, and Cena's limp body getting the win to marvel at. It's just a great card that actually builds until the big stipulation matches that people would have paid to see. I love this show. It gives me a fuzzy feeling in my tummy. 2008, WrestleMania 24. WrestleMania 24 is often left off the list of top-tier WrestleManias, and from a distance, it could be understandable. JBL vs. Finlay is a broadly fine opener. Batista and Umaga having a bragging rights match a year before bragging rights would be introduced was naff, and the Playboy Bunny Mania match was so bad God himself turned out the lights for it. But otherwise, this Mania not only stacks the deck with memorable moments and great matches, but some of the most iconic imagery in WWE history as well. Like, yeah, Shawn and Flair having a legendary retirement match, Punk's first Money in the Bank win, Floyd knocking out Big Show with the help of noted Mayweather hanger-on Michael Tarver, and Undertaker reaching 16-0 are all brilliant matches and moments, but WWE grabbing half a dozen camera shots that they can reuse in video packages for decades to come, that's where the money is. In all seriousness, this is one of the best nights WWE's production team ever had, until they finally kicked Kevin Dunn to the curb. The shot of Edge's pyro is exceptional. The multiple dolly shots of folks like Triple H and Shawn Michaels during their entrances make this Mania feel f***ing grand. This is one of the best looking wrestling shows there has ever been, and that is all more impressive when you consider that the Citrus Bowl in 2008 was a f***ing hole. 2009, No Way Out. Why did they change the name of No Way Out? I get they wanted the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view to be a thing, but like, No Way Out was the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view when it retired. Even the name, there is no way out of the chamber. Stupid. Anyway, a while back, I called WrestleMania 25 a turd sandwich between two brilliant B pay-per-views on either side. Backlash I've talked about, but here we have No Way Out, and it's two impeccable chamber matches. There isn't much else on the show, to be honest. Randy Orton and Shane McMahon actually have a remarkably good no-holds-barred match for how awful Shane's punches were, but Jack Swagger and Finlay's ECW title match can be skipped, and JBL and HBK had maybe the most unremarkable singles match of Shawn's pay-per-view career, but that don't matter. These chamber matches and Edge's 2.5-hour personal journey, that's what matters. Two great f***ing matches here. I'll leave you to decide which is better, which basically comes down to whether you prefer the work of The Undertaker and Triple H, or Edge and Rey Mysterio, and likewise whether you prefer Mike Knox or Vladimir Kozlov, but both matches are just the best. It is a wonderfully fun way to set up WrestleMania. It would just be nice if Mania would have, you know, done something with it. Hello and welcome to another edition of Survival Series, the show that helps distract you from the decline of Western society.
It doesn't.
For these 20 minutes, Dan, I hope it does.
All I can think about.
Today I'm joined by the champion, Pete Quinnell.
It's me. I win a lot.
Twat.